sitting down with me finally after some bubbly and some rest and some relaxation, a little bit through Coach Rick McConnell with the Midget male varsity hockey team. You should be smiling. And he is. He really is smiling. There he is. Quite a weekend it was, Rick. Getting out to BC. Let's go back and look at the weekend because, I mean, the bottom line is you guys had – first question I got to ask you is, you know, we talked in the beginning of January and we said, okay, finish this sentence off. In 2020, we expect this team to do what? Do you remember that question I asked you?
Yep.
And you said a three-letter word and you said win.
Yeah, absolutely.
Said, what does that mean? You said that means we go, we play our hearts off, we play our game, and sure enough, the win. Tell me, let's go through this weekend because, I mean, it didn't start off the way you wanted to.
No, it didn't. Typically over my 5 years, going to playoffs, our first game seems to be a little bit of a struggle. I think part of it's, well, a lot of it has to do with the travel, 2 days on the bus because we go by bus. And as much as you try and get there early enough and whatnot, bus legs took its toll. And hindsight, that loss was a good wake-up call, actually, for us. It put a lot of pressure on us. We had to win. We had to play it out without winning constantly. And obviously after that, we had a good run.
Yeah, you had to run the table, no doubt. You played edge in that first game, losing 4-0. Penalties were probably the biggest thing I noticed off of the box score. You guys were consistently in the box. Was it just the fact that we were playing catch up, just not able to play the speed game that you wanted to, Rick, or was it just one of those games that you were just battling too much and the ref was getting you on the bad side?
Well, honestly, it was a little bit of everything. Edge is a good team. I'm not going to take anything away from them. They're a good team that played us tough all year, but we weren't ready to match their speed. We weren't ready for we just weren't ready. Then we got frustrated, took a lot of undisciplined penalties, which does not sit well with me. It hasn't all year. I'm a huge guy on playing disciplined hockey, and I was quite upset and frustrated at that situation. But yeah, there's just a lot of things went into that loss, and when it was all done, we had a real good talk and kind of changed the focus back to the way we need to play to be successful.
Did you throw the tape away after game one? Because when you go to game two, playing against CDA, a 7-3 victory, you led from the start, you got the first goal, but there was less penalties, so it was more a speed game.
Yeah, absolutely, and we had to be prepared because Coeur d'Alene is a darn good team too. Played us real tough the last time we played them. They're a physical team. So I more or less told you guys we've played against all types of teams, and that's, to me, an advantage of playing in the States, some of the more physical teams. We came out and we played a great hockey game, lots of jump, lots of speed. I seen what I wanted in my boys. It showed that the loss hurts the day before, and it was a wake-up call. And real proud, huge win against Coeur d'Alene because we lose that and we're pretty much toast. So I had everybody going, and the focus was there. You could just see a totally different team prepared wise, but I really liked our speed. We had jump and we had the style I like to play. That's the way that I can see that little bit of tinge in your voice, that excitement. And the excitement continued in game three. If I had to look at one thing off the sheet and off the highlights of the game, it was the amount of shots you let go against the Pursuit of Excellence, the POE team. 58-25 was the final shot tally in that game with a 6-2 victory. Again, starting with the first goal. What built from the second game into the third game and start ramping up into what was to be that, you know, that upper echelon of play from the boys? Yeah, we just built off the momentum from the day before. And again, before the game, we had a good talk about what direction we're headed and not to tank POE lightly. Good goaltending there. So getting the goals, a couple quick goals early got us going, and we just carried on. Unfortunately, we were having trouble putting the puck in the net. Well, we probably should have had 10 to 12 goals that night, but I give credit to their goaltending too. It was good, but real good game again. Guys were in the right frame of mind again. Probably got POE at a good time for us. It was a confidence booster. The way we played, controlled the game for a good part of the game. Played the way I wanted the game, good forecheck, good speed. And Yeah, that game got us set up well for our semi.
Yeah, and the semi was against the Prairie Hockey Academy, a team that you've had a bit of difficulty this 2020 season. If memory serves me right, they came into your barn and beat you, and then they also cost you 2 wins at the end of the season, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
3 at the end of the season.
3 at the end of the season. My apologies. They definitely had your number in the beginning of this year, but what was it about that semifinal game that was different than the regular season games you play against them?
My team wasn't going to be denied. I seen it from dressing room before the game. We were on a mission. Prairie was on a 10-game winning streak. We'd heard a lot about that, and we were part of that. We had a good talk. We were ready. The boys we had a point to prove. We left Prairie the last time on a sad note. They took it to us. We took some penalties and just did not play well, and that stuck with us. I remember how the game ended. I reminded the boys, said, "Here's your chance, payback right now, fellas." And what a game! Kids played outstanding. That was end-to-end entertaining because they are a good physical team. But we got a few breaks. You got to work for those breaks. I give my kids all the credit in the world. I had outstanding goaltending, and boy, that was. We played in the little memorial rink there too, which was a challenge. But boy, I was really proud of my guys that night because that was a big win. You know, going in, they'd had our number, and you never know what can happen. But
that third period they outshot you 17-8, I believe it was, and they must have thrown a barrage of everything, including the kitchen sink, on your defense and your goaltending. And I got to ask this before we get to the final game, as a team that's ranked as highly as you were throughout the season, you still maintained a rotating goalie format. Was that something that was still? I mean, I'm looking. Chen, Jose, and Jordy all played in the finals here in this playoff time. Was that something you were going into and saying, okay, who is my hot hand coming into the semis and who's my hot hand coming into the finals? Because I believe there was 2 different goalies, one in the semi and one in the finals, correct?
No, I had Chen playing.
Chen played both. Okay, so
yeah,
he was the hot hand.
Sorry, I did go in into the weekend. I started Jordy, was the MVP goaltender of the league, and I'm not going to blame the game on him. He didn't have his best game. Let's put it that way in his first one. He also plays against Edge, the school he was coming from. Little pressure on him. Anyways, as we went the 3 games, I had a hunch. As a coach, I had a hunch going into the semi with Chenner. I thought he had a good game too against Coeur d'Alene, which was a huge game for us. Played outstanding against him. And it was just nothing against the other 2. I had a hunch that was the guy I was going to go with in the semi, and he proved me right. Thank God.
No matter what. I mean, he faced more shots against Prairie than you were able to throw against Prairie, and as well as Edge. I mean, he faced 36 shots, I believe, going in that final. And what was the atmosphere in that final game, knowing you were playing Edge for the second time in the weekend and you had a point to prove? Were there nerves, or was it more just the fact that, okay, we have something to prove to this other team and to this entire league why we were first?
Well, yeah, being first puts a lot of pressure on it. Put a lot of pressure on us going in, which is probably the first time we've had that in the 5 years. But I like pressure myself. I was uptight a little bit. I've done this a long time, but I really wanted it for my kids. I really did. They've worked hard. We've gone through the highs and lows. But again, Edge beat us 4-0. I told the boys, remember how it felt after the first game. They were pretty excited to knock us off, which they should be. But I told the kids to remember how it felt and get ready to play. And before the game, there was some nerves. I've seen it looking around. We're in a final. And for some of my kids, probably the first time they've been in a situation like this. For myself, I've been in several. So it's funny, though. I was wondering, boy, Rick, how come you're so uptight and nervous for this one? But I really wanted it for my boys. I really did. It's not about me and Ernie. It's all about my team. And they came out and played their hearts out for me. We lost Bearsy in the first period. Was a little setback for us. The third period, our top demon MVP, Tynan, went down early in the third, and the rest of the boys stepped her up. And we struggled to start the game. I'll admit, they took it to us. We hung on. Chenner kept us in, got that first power play goal, and I could just feel the bench. Okay, we can play. We can do this. And then we kind of went. We played well. We had lots of opportunities that went back and forth. Another real exciting game. Like, boy, on pins and needles, and then Bully scored that power play goal with 5 minutes left. And
yeah,
really,
I mean, let's go back to the first period. I mean, that first period there was 2 disallowed goals, if my memory serves me right. And how did that? Like, what happened there?
Good question. I've kind of
I'm putting you on the spot. I mean, there's lots that happened. The bottom line is, you talk about the power play goal that Brock McDonald upstairs on a very big goaltender. How we found room up there was beyond me. I had to look at it 4 different times and say, how did that puck get in? And then speaking of Bull's power play goal as well, the seeing eye shot, I called it, because it went through like 3 or 4 bodies. And Sadoweiser had no clue where it was until it hit the back of the net. So, I mean, talk about 2 guys that have battled all year. And I've seen these players play all year. I mean, they battled. They're the benchmarks of true, not 100% talent, but 100% hard work. These guys worked their tails off. And I think the entire team just really did that in the last 4 games, winning and running the table.
Yeah, absolutely. We had a mindset that we were going to win it after that first loss, and like I said, I can't give my kids enough credit for the way they played in the last 5 minutes, the way we buckled down, and we've done that several times in the last 5 or 6 weeks. I know we played a lot of hockey, but I was quite pleased with the way we played defensively, and when that last 5 minutes shutting the game down, when we did get that goal was like an overtime goal, you know, semi fluky, whatever. It went in. It was one of those. I told you guys 5, 6 minutes left. Put the puck on net. Anything can happen here because chances are the next goal is the big one. And fortunately, we got it. And it was nice our power play. We got a couple power play goals in that game. To another thing that I preach specialty teams all year. And fortunately for us, we got it done in the end. But boy, my kids were excited. That was an exciting time. I still feel the room, the energy. It was pretty cool.
Do you remember who you first hugged or looked at when that final timer was done?
Yeah, my assistant coach, Ernie. We've gone through this all year. She's been our ups and downs, and we wanted to do this together. You know, it was exciting, and as soon as after that, we went straight to our boys because as a group, like I say, I'm super proud of them, and they're still beaming to this day, even though we're flying in every direction with the way the things are going on in the world right now.
It's amazing. Like you talk about Ernie for a second, because he's like the unsung hero. He does a lot for this team that a lot of people that watch these shows or don't know much about Pilot Mound Hockey Academy. I mean, comment on what Ernie has been for maybe you as a bit of a mentor, but also for these kids, knowing that they've got pretty good set of shoulders on a guy that, you know, will do everything for this team.
Oh, absolutely. The guy's full of energy, sometimes almost too much energy, but he's been huge for myself. I tell you, I've learned so much from the man. He's coached from the pro level all the way down to Europe, all over the place. And book of knowledge, unbelievable what the things he can come up with just at the drop of a hat. Great with the kids, system-wise, unbelievable what he knows. He brings everything to the team, but most of all, he's a good friend of mine. He works hard at the game. He's got a passion much like mine, the energy on the bench. We both are very energetic, expectations real high. But he cares about our kids. The number one thing is he cares about our kids, and he himself will tell you it's not about him or I, it's about our group. And I've really enjoyed my time with him. He brings a lot to the table, boy. Plus, he's a character. He keeps me on the toes.
If you get a great set of words out of him, it's amazing what he says. You just kind of have to give a double look sometimes of where is he going with this. But there's a reason, there's a method to what he says. I totally agree with you, Rick. I'm going to touch on a couple of questions before I let you go. One is a little bit close to our hearts with regards to you being not just a hockey coach, but a sports enthusiast. In light of what's going on over the last couple of weeks with, you know, playoffs not being able to be played, seasons ending without championships. How does it feel knowing that you were able to raise a championship and bring home a banner in lieu of what's going on, but at the same time be recognized as the best team this year in your division?
Well, I'm very proud. I was glad, happy, whatever you want to call it, to get that tournament done. The other half didn't get finished, so we were fortunate to be able to win a championship in the time we were there for these kids. Coming home, you know, the way it's been, there's a lot of mixed feelings around here. My disappointment is we weren't really able to do much as a group once we won, because when we got home here, we kind of school's been disassembled and we're kind of going our directions, and hockey's been shut down, and it's kind of it's funny. I have a weird feeling even coming to school. It's like, I don't even know how to explain it. It's like there's been this huge accident and we've lost. I don't know. There's just a weird feeling. I don't even know how to explain it. But, you know, I'm going to carry this win with me forever. I have joy. Each one of these kids has a piece of me, and I'll never forget this. But what's going on in the world is kind of, you know, it kind of gives you a little setback right now. But I just want everyone, and my group included, to stay healthy, look after themselves, and we'll get through this. Canada is a strong country, and the rest of the world will get through this.
Absolutely. So moving forward, hopefully we'll find out later on with regards to our development camps that will happen at the end of April. We'll see what happens with that. But we also had some exciting news with regards to this team moving into a different division. And that is now a varsity prep program, correct?
Yes, we're going to be in the U17 prep division. They got U18, U17, and U16 now. There's no more midget varsity. We will be U17 prep.
Okay, so what does that mean for this current team? Does anybody age out, or how do you assemble this next team based on the fact that it's now a U17 program?
Well, we are going to the prep level, so we're moving up a little bit. Obviously, I only have Tynan that ages out, only my MVP, my top player, great citizen, and all the rest. But the rest of the kids could come back. We're going to do evaluations and sit down and see where we're at, because we are moving up a stage. We do have to upgrade. I'll admit, we're going to the prep level. I've got a taste of winning again, and I'd love to get back and do it again. We're going to do our best to see what we can assemble here. But the league, it's a premier prep league, so of 17 and under. So a lot of my guys can come back. So we'll see here in the next little while where we go with that.
Absolutely. What does it mean to a program? I mean, you've been here for almost 5 years, that a championship, has come back to Pilot Mound, of all places. I mean, you talk about a prep program, a population of no more than 800, small town, the vision that this group of adults has for a hockey academy. You win banners at the tournaments and the showcases, but what does it mean knowing that you've got this cup this year, and what does it do for the traditions and the excellences when it comes to a hockey academy, knowing that you've able to reach this pinnacle?
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for the program. It's a big deal here. You know, like, we've only been in this 5 years, and to be able to bring home a championship in the 5 years. I know we had a couple of years ago, we had a good opportunity losing in the final, but to bring it home to Pilot Mound, everyone is pretty excited here. You know, again, we've only been in this 5 years. We're a small program, but I believe we're a big program. Winning's opened a lot of eyes. I know lots of people, where's Pilot Mound, this and that, you know, Manitoba, it's cold and blah, blah, blah. But we've opened eyes, and actually we've got kids interested in coming to the program. I'm a firm believer in success will attract better players. That's helped us as well. But for our town and little community, it's exciting. I'm happy for the group that's throwing this together, Rod and the rest of them that have got this academy going in our little town. It's for them as well. But the bottom line, guys, my kids, it's all about my boys. That's, for me, that's the bottom line. This is exciting for everybody, but those 21 guys that battle tooth and nail to get this done, they're the guys for me that are the good guys.
They're the good guys. The opportunity that some of these kids may not have had if they were to stay home and to come play at Pilot Mound. You talk about the travel, the experiences, the education, the facilities that are available. I mean, it's second to none, especially when you're holding that banner for this year. Congratulations, Rick. I want to thank you very much for taking the time. I know you probably have less students in class today than normal. And good luck with staying healthy and making sure that the program is going to – I know the program is going to continue to grow next year. I look forward to seeing the group that gets assembled for that U17 program. And now that you've got that itch, that winning itch, it's going to be fun. Maybe you're going to have a couple more phrases to speak about.
You bet. Hey, thanks a lot. You stay healthy too.
Will do. Well, that's why we do this like this. I mean, it's safe in our own homes and we're safe in our own place. And Lord knows we got to do our best to make sure that we're doing our thing. Coach Rick McConnell with the championship banner, the championship cup. You don't even have the cup to show off, do you?
No, sorry, I got it in the dressing room. Everything's at the room, and like I said, I would have liked to have done a group thing, but we've got kids going in every direction. And
yeah, no, I totally understand. I think we will touch base when everything is safe and sound, and we're able to talk about sports outside of hockey come the springtime. I look forward to doing that. Rick, thank you for joining me, and have a great rest of the day.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Congratulations to the Midget varsity male hockey team down in Pilot Mound, the champions this year, the CSSHL. Look forward to seeing them move up to the U17 prep program in 2020-21. Talk to you soon.